Next up, we've got Dr. Pat Cupo to take us all the way through the pressure line. So, Pat, I'll just queue up the slides.
Good afternoon. Thank you for having me back. I remember a lot of you from Euro Disney. We had a wonderful time, and some new faces, so it's great being here again this year. And I'd like to start out by asking you a question. How many people in this room were selling field devices in 2005? In 2005, raise your hand. How many were selling, okay, maybe half the room. How many were selling devices in 1995, field devices? How many were selling field devices in 1980? Oh, two guys can relate to this. Okay, I'm going to tell you a story, and you're going to relate to it. In 1981, Honeywell released a product with a microcontroller inside the transmitter. Up to then, it had been 1151 was the dominant pressure transmitter. What do you think customers said when Honeywell introduced a microcontroller? First of all, who think there was a marketing study that was done that said, Mr. Customer, you need a microcontroller in your transmitter to make it smart? You know what customers said? Why do I need that? I don't need that. Never heard of that, right? It was a game changer. Today, we still sell some analog devices. There is a small market for it, but by far, the majority of the greenfield projects, what do they want? They want smart transmitters. Okay, so there's our product family. You've seen this picture before. Okay, nothing's changed. Good product, good features, benefits for the price. Yeah, we don't have all the bells and whistles that Emerson has. We don't have the plugged impulse lines. But the next generation platform is going to make that look like a Mickey Mouse feature. We introduced a new tablet, HHT50. HHT50 is our handheld communicator. The problem with this device is it's not intrinsically safe, and so we can't really replace the 475, 375. But for in the maintenance shop, it's a great device. It runs Windows XP. The new unit has a non-mechanical hard drive, so it's like a flash drive, if you will. It's backwards compatible. If your customers have purchased the older versions, they can use the same docking station, the same power supplies. Everything is backwards compatible. It comes with the serial COM port for your customers who like to run PC20. Okay, and it's a good serial COM port. In other words, on the battery, when the unit goes onto the battery, it doesn't cheat the COM port. It keeps it a full 10 volts. Okay? You heard a lot about WICA as a partner. We're offering threaded seals, flange seals, inline seals, sanitary seals. If there's an application that we don't have the proper seal, please work through your channel, and we will do a special. There's a lot of seals that are ECEP still. We had a major program about a year ago to try to get as many seals as standard as possible. That's still ongoing. We're taking as many specials and trying to make them standard. But as you can imagine, there's a lot of permutations and combinations here. So it's an ongoing process. But WICA is an excellent supplier of remote seals, top-notch quality, and they work with us very well. Multivariable products, IMV25, IMV30, and IMV31. The PCMV will be upgraded. That's the software that's required to configure the multivariables to include a USB communications. And Dave Ferrari will probably talk to that a little bit more maybe in his talk, but Dave is committed to doing this. The only downside is this will not support Foxconn. And let's talk a little bit about Foxconn, because Foxconn was very good, right? Foxconn's been very good to us. That was back in the 1980s, right? No one else could do that. Honeywell and Foxboro were the only two that had smart transmitters that could do bidirectional communications, right? Customers bought into that story by the thousands. But over the years, other protocols have taken priority, and we haven't kept the field device features and functions on the Foxconn protocol. And the competition has forced us to move to field bus and HART. So the future is HART and field bus. We're not going to abandon those customers. There's no one here saying Foxconn force the customer to move from Foxcom to Hart or Foundation Field Bus. But we're encouraging you to communicate to your customers and say, you know, Foxcom is an old protocol. It's a very good protocol. It still is good. A lot of the features in Foxcom were the basis, the foundation for Field Bus. But at some point, it gets harder and harder to get the components to build those old products. So what you want to do is have a migration presentation ready for your customer and talk to him about the benefits of moving to Hart Foundation Field Bus. Think of it as an opportunity. Now, recently we had to discontinue the RTT-20, a temperature transmitter that has Foxcom. We could no longer get the components. We had to inventory a certain number of components for support and service. So today, all orders for RTT-20 Foxcom come through me. I approve it. The requirements are, make sure you tell the customer this is the last time buy. Make sure the customer is aware of the Advantage program. Number 3, I want to see your migration presentation. Show me what you're going to show our customers so that they can see the benefits of moving to a newer protocol, Hart, Foundation Field Bus, Brophy Bus. And the 4th thing is the quality of the customer. IMV 25, IMV 30 Foxcom will be removed for the same reasons in December, okay? Again, we can no longer get the components to build these products. They're over 20 years old. And, you know, life goes on. But think of this as an opportunity. You can go visit customers and present new features, new benefit. Okay, there are no plans to remove the single range pressure Foxcom. It's about 8% of my business, and there's no plans to move that to mature, what we call mature phase. So Foxcom will continue. We can get the components. We actually did an engineering upgrade on that platform a few years ago, so the components are newer components, and we can maintain that product. The plan is to support Foxcom for at least 10 years. So RTT-20, we're going to support that for 10 years. Same thing for the multivariables. This is the fast response time transmitter. When we were quoting projects, we would get disqualified immediately because when they looked at our specs, they saw our response time was 750 milliseconds. And so we got excluded immediately. So we went out and obtained a product that has 100 millisecond response time. You need these for rotary equipment control. It's about 8% of your projects will require fast response time. So while the Emerson sales guy was pitching fast response time, our guys had to go in and entertain the fact that you don't need fast response time at 95% of the applications. Slowed our guys down, and why not just give them a fast response time transmitter? So that's what we did. This is available with only stainless steel and Hastelloy C wetted parts. It doesn't have all the exotics. The long-term drift spec, 0.1% of URL for 10 years. It's a very good long-term drift spec. It's 0.04% accuracy, and it has an alarm contact output. Now, it looks different from an IA transmitter. I'll give you that. It looks different. We give up certain features that we've been touting for the last 20 years. Such thing as captive bolts. If you look at an IA pressure transmitter, the bolts are contained within the end caps. It's a 4-bolt design. We need to go to 4-bolt design because the static pressure ratings in the industries are getting higher. Customers are asking for not 6,000 PSI, they're asking for 10,000 PSI static pressure ratings on DP cells. That's because we're going deeper for the oil, we're injecting steams at higher pressures, and we need to contain 10,000 PSI. So this is a gauge version. We don't have an inline version. This is the 31. This is a DP transmitter, 400 inches differential, 200 to 1 turn down, 3,000 PSI static rating. Again, long-term drift spec, 0.01% of URL for 10 years. SIL 2 certified. The industry is diverging into control transmitters and safety transmitters. Who can tell me what the accuracy spec is on a safety transmitter? Some of you guys that were in my training a couple weeks ago should know this. What's the accuracy spec for a safety transmitter? Control transmitter, what, 0.025%? 0.025, 0.05? How about on a safety transmitter? What's the accuracy spec? 2%. How does Emerson get away selling a 3051 0.03% accurate as a safety transmitter? What do you think happens if you put that kind of accuracy in a safety loop? The safety engineer will be choking you because he's going to get nuisance alarms. What's going to appear to be a safety trip is nothing more than noise in the line or process variation. Safety transmitters are 2%. So when you get in front of a customer, a safety engineer, he's going to understand that. If you go talk to a control engineer, he won't understand that. He's going to want 0.025%. If you're going to sell safety, you have to be talking to the safety engineer, not the control engineer. And you must understand the terminology. It's different. When you're talking to a safety engineer, you're talking about probability of failures. You're talking failed safe detected, failed safe undetected, failed dangerous detected, failed dangerous undetected. That SFF number has to be greater than 90%. If you didn't understand what I just communicated to you, you got to do some homework if you're going to sell safety. It's here. It's not going away. The driver is the insurance companies. The insurance companies who cover these plants, the refineries, if the customer can tell the insurance company, I have safety, SIS implemented systems, they get a discount in their premiums. That's the driver. We have the product now to do this. Okay, this is the, I took this picture, it's not very good, I apologize, but this is the display on the fast response time transmitters. You can set zero and span if you order that option with the transmitter. You can set zero and span with a little magnetic wand. You don't have to undo the cover. You just take the wand and put it on zero, and the transmitter will go in and re-zero. NAMUR 107. Who's encountered NAMUR 107 in projects, greenfield projects? Everybody wants NAMUR 107, NAMUR 107. What is NAMUR 107? NAMUR 107 is a harmonization of diagnostics. And I think Dave's going to talk more about this and probably knows a lot more than I do about this. But basically, it has to do with operator efficiency. So what they're trying to achieve is if a diagnostic comes in from a Honeywell transmitter or a Foxboro transmitter or an Emerson transmitter, the operator understands that diagnostic. So all the manufacturers have to come together and agree on the severity of the diagnostic and whether it's a caution or it's a red. So they have different color codes and different icons you have to use to be NAMUR 107 compliant, both for heart and for field bus devices. And it all has to do with the operator efficiency. So when a diagnostic does come up on his screen, he knows how to handle it appropriately. Okay, so this is an example of some of the icons the operator would see. The blue means the oil can is maintenance required, out of specification, function check, and then a hard failure. So everybody must play by these rules to be NAMUR 107 compliant. And we're on one of our guys, and Dave, you're going to talk about this? No? One of our guys actually sits on the Foundation Field Bus 912 or 219. It's the committee that's doing this, and our guy Larry Brown is actually the author of this standard. And so we have a little bit of an inside road here. And he's working on the field bus, NAMUR 107 compliant. We have a big project in the Middle East that requires NAMUR 107, and so we have to get this done fairly quickly. Competition. Emerson, Yokogawa, E&H. Now, I'm sure in Europe you have other guys you're competing with, ABB, Siemens, okay? But these are the three we focus on in the Ponset. Let me tell you, you can beat Emerson, you can beat Yokogawa. And I say that with a little bit of smirk because if they become a profit organization, we can beat them. If they stay nonprofit, we're going to have a difficult time. But spec for spec, we've got product that matches their best to their middle tier. We don't mess around with low tier. We don't do low quality stuff. Okay? E&H, the innovative company. Emerson, the marketing company, right? Yokogawa, the nonprofit organization, right? Best way you compete with Yokogawa is what? You say, try to lock them out. What's the best way to sell pressure transmitters on a greenfield project? What's the best way? Get in early, find out about it early. If you find out about it 3 days before the bid's required, they're not really serious about you. They're going to use you to try to combat the costs, right? You get in early. If you get in early, what do? You sit down with the customer and you help them develop the spec. And you spec that around our transmitter. And it's real easy to do. If you get that opportunity to get into a customer's office and he tells you, I got a project coming on, can I help you with the spec? So what would you say? Oh, the transmitter must have cotangeo conduit connections for easy draining. Does Emerson have that? No. Does Yokogawa have that? No. Does E&H have that? No. We're the only ones. Diaphragm must be 2 mil. Does Emerson have that? No, theirs is only 1 mil. Does E&H have that? No, theirs is 1 mil. Yokogawa, 1 mil. So if that opportunity arises and it's a big project and you're in early, don't hesitate to call me. I will give you the things to have the customer put in the spec for us to eliminate Emerson, Yokogawa, and E&H.
Pat,
Yes.
can you just do that anyway?
I'm sorry? Do you want a white paper that says, or some kind of memo?
Yeah, rather than doing it on an individual basis, can you just give us that as a general form that we can use as a,
We can do
for
that.
the customers or whatever?
Yeah, we can do that.
Great.
That's a good idea. We can definitely do that.
Cheers, Chris.
At 3% of the market, which is what we have globally, as a product manager, I didn't want to do a new platform that was just a me too. Why would we want to do that? Right? We need a product that's going to excite the market. We need a product that's going to change the market. And with the help of engineering, and Vinny's not here, but we have a crackerjack engineering team. They're focused on this. They're excited about this project. And I put all my confidence in them that they will get it done. And trust me, next year, guns will be going off for M&I. It's been a long time. By the way, I looked at the history of when we release product, and it seems it takes 10 years, 20 years for us to redo pressure. If you look at the history of the pressure line, it takes 10 to 20 years before we do something really cool. So we're due. We're due for something really cool. Okay, let's talk about temperature. And by the way, 85% of my temperature business comes from my pressure customers. So when you sell pressure, you're really selling temperature too. Okay, keep that in mind. 85% of the temperature transmitters that we sell are sold in conjunction with pressure. Okay? This is what the temperature family looks like. RTT 15, RTT 20, RTT 30. 15 is about 7 years old since it was launched. The 20 is one of those old products. And the 30 is the new high-end temperature transmitter. Not to be put on the water cooler. This is for critical temperature applications. List price is about $1,000. Hot sensor backup, dual compartment housing, huge display, big terminal block for easy wiring. This is the one that we sold to Reliance, and we sold them 3,000 of these remote sensors. Field bus version, and they're working fine. No problems. What do we give up on the new family? We're giving up the push buttons. And everybody loves the push buttons. Foxboro's famous for the push buttons, right? I don't need the 475, I don't need the 375. I can go up and configure the transmitter through the display. That's true except for the multivariables. Okay? So the new products typically don't have displays that can also configure the product. Soon to be released will be the RTT80. And this is a hockey puck where the 30 is a board. It's an actual board that sits in the housing and is potted. The 80 is a hockey puck. It looks about the same size as the 15. The 80 has all the functionality of the 30. I'm going to try to put this into market space at about $500, maybe $450. We'll see. Okay, 2-channel, Hart foundation field bus and Brophy bus. SIL2, we need a temperature transmitter with SIL2 certification dearly. We need it like yesterday. The RTT15 comes with a self-declared SIL2. Customers are not accepting that anymore. Self-declared is not making it. You need a third party, whether it be Exida or TUV, Rhineland or Sud. You need a third party saying this is a safe device. It'll have FM, CSA, ATEX, and IECEX. The first release will probably be ATEX, but as Vinny pointed out in an earlier talk, the agencies can be difficult to work with, and so we never know exactly when we're going to get it. But as soon as we get it, we'll turn it on in Bottomation. This will be available in Bottomation December 1st. The first release will be just the hockey puck. Okay, and then the good news is the second, a couple months later, hopefully, that will be in our universal housing, the Foxboro temperature housing. And then a couple months later, we're going to put it in the pressure housing or the vortex housing. So it'll look like a Foxboro product. Okay? One of the biggest objections I get to the 30 is it doesn't look like one of ours. Okay? So we're going to release the 80 with housings that are Foxboro housings. The cool thing about the pressure housing is, as you can see, those screws are pretty small. It's very difficult to wire these guys, like the 15. But when you put it inside the pressure housing, the terminal block becomes much bigger. And so for ease of wiring, the pressure transmitter housing will accommodate that requirement very nicely. We know we need NEPC for China, and certainly the ATEX should be the latest and greatest ATEX, is what we're shooting for. So you should have no issues with ATEX. We'll be able to provide sensor housings, or sensor assemblies, and thermal well attachment. And I believe that will get done by Dr. Carl there in Stuttgart or at WICA. WICA's been working with us on some of the requirements for the sensors that we've been missing over the years, that the sensor itself has to be intrinsically safe. And so we're going to be working with WICA to figure that out for the European community, how we can accomplish that. This is going to be probably become the workhorse of our temperature offering. Okay, this would be the preferred product, if you will. Dave is working on DTMs for this product, and we'll have certified DTMs both for the Hart and for the foundation field bus. Okay, this is how the 80 looks with the indicator. Now, I'm not happy with the indicator. It's small, but for $500 you don't get the big indicator. Okay, so I'm going to tell you right now, the indicator, see, no buttons, can't configure. It's small. Maybe in the future we can admonish the indicator, make it a little sexier, if you will. But right now the indicator is just a plain dumb indicator, and that'll list out for probably $60. Okay. RTT80 carries ATEX Zone 1. Now, here's a good question for you. Today, my temperature product line has Zone 0. How many in this room think that's going to hurt the product if I don't have Zone 0? Because I can't do a database lookup because we never offered just Zone 1. We always offered Zone 0. You got to let me know because we can go back and get Zone 0. But this is only Zone 1. If that becomes an issue, you got to let me know, and we'll go get Zone 0. Okay, this is how it's going to look in the pressure transmitter housing. You can see it looks like a Foxboro device. This would be the dual compartment version. And The benefit here is our housing is cost effective for us, right? We manufacture thousands of these housings for pressure, vortex, so economies of scale. It doesn't add much cost to the product.
Now, 2 weeks ago, I was with a company called Intertech. They're building enclosures. And they showed me how much brackets they have left from all the projects. Because a lot of engineering companies still think that they have to mount the transmitter and not the manifolds. They have in stock 18,000 brackets left from past projects. And then once a year, they fill one container with these stainless steel brackets. And it's for the personnel to have a party, because they scrap the metal. So,
You need to send them Bitter Joy.
yeah, Obino wants to have them. Oh, okay.
We're
I'm going to make a nice prize for you, Obino.
You're going to get them all.
No, but so it's really, it's also now really confirmed by the market itself that most of the brackets which will go into projects, the engineering company is always demanding the brackets, but they are never used by the hundreds, by the thousands. And that's craziness. And it can help us also. So it's only...
That's perfect. I got that.
Cheers, Ab. No? Okay. So thank you very much, Pat. Mammoth effort as usual.